What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. Happy Sunday. First football game's kicking off right now. I'm running late. I slept in. UFC fight last night. They go on too late, man. I was a little tired. Got up at 6, hit snooze, woke up at 8. Here we go. It's now 9 o'clock. Dolphins, Redskins, or Commanders, excuse me, over in Spain. I need the Dolphins and I need the over. Let's go. Let's start out this morning. Absolutely beautiful, folks. Now, look. Whatever you're doing, you need to pull over. Keep driving. Just turn up the volume. Pay attention to the road. Something massive is brewing under the surface of this market. And guess what? No one's putting the pieces together yet, except us. I'm telling you straight, there's a reason XRP's numbers are going to go haywire while the price is acting half asleep. That's not weakness. That is a setup. And once you see the data I'm about to show you, guess what? You're going to realize this whole thing was engineered. The next move, it isn't retail driven. It's not memes, and it's definitely not hype. It's silent hands, big money, and a clock that is seconds away from hitting zero. Let's dig in before this window closes. You see it up on your screen. Hey, join the newsletter. It's free, 100% free. No gimmicks, no ifs, ands, or buts. Go down in the video description. Copy the link, paste it, hit join, put in your email. You will get an email back immediately. You need to confirm that you are opted in. It is a double opt-in to avoid spam bots, all those robotic accounts. And then just sit back and enjoy some beautiful content coming from me. Usually weekly, but if not, it's bi-weekly. It's the info that can't be seen on here. And if you're not getting any of your news from XRPrightnow.com, look, that's my news site. Yeah, you heard that right. The longest running, and it's been up and down, because I get distracted, got things to do, but we got this thing cooked up. 10 to 15 articles a day. I put out this article right here. It's called XRP Surges 2.5 billion traded in 24 hours. XRP's network, it exploded with a 200% surge in payment volume all in one day. And you know when that happens? Not on hype. It's definitely not on retail FOMO. It happens when deep liquidity, institutional liquidity, is repositioning. That's the first red flag, but in a good way. Now, here's the part that doesn't add up on the surface. Stick with me. Even with that massive spike in activity here, XRP's price is still being smothered under the 50-day, 100-day, and 200-day moving averages. Completely held down. Meanwhile, your buyers, the real ones, not your bots, they keep stepping in, around like 230 to 235, like the zone is scared. So you got a bullish network signal with a bearish chart. Doesn't make sense, does it? Doesn't add up, I know. And you got the whales quietly absorbing liquidity at one price band. This is exactly what your accumulation looks like before a repricing event occurs. And I want you to look at the timing here. Right when ETF talks heat up, right when regulatory clarity is inches away, right when settlement infrastructure globally is under pressure. Look, you don't need to have a tinfoil hat on. You don't need to be a conspiracy theorist to see what's happening, but it definitely feels like one. Somebody is preparing for an event the rest of the market hasn't caught on to yet. And speaking of quiet accumulation, this Chad put together a beautiful little chart. Let me blow it up. This is your Canary Capital inflows and buying volume. I want you to remember, and I cannot stress this enough, how small Canary Capital is. Frankie T's coming to life. At some point, I think it's Tuesday. There's not really a locked in date. We had a range from Thursday to Tuesday. Thursday of last week to Tuesday of this week. Bitwise will be alive as well. Their day 2 inflows was almost 12 million XRP. They now have a total of 120 million XRP, and their share volume is over 26 million. This isn't testing liquidity. This is locking down supply before everyone else wakes up. But now I want you to think bigger. If one fund is already scooping up this aggressively before the bigger ETFs go live, what do you think happens when BlackRock enters the game? Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, and the rest, I said West, I meant to say rest, and the rest of the Wall Street Hydra decide to step in. Here is where your conspiracy tone becomes reality. They aren't buying XRP because of hype. They're not buying XRP for speculation. They're buying XRP because something is coming to settlement rails globally, and they need exposure before the crowd notices. This is the beginning of a liquidity drain. And guess what? The table you're about to see in the next section, it proves it. Look at the chart. This is the part that mainstream media won't touch, because once you see these numbers, the whole narrative breaks. You know, the same narrative they've been pushing for over a decade? Yeah, that narrative. This model right here tracks monthly supply decline versus its projected XRP price. Even at a modest level of reduction, we're talking 8 to 15% at a modest level. The price organically jumps from $2.45 to $60 to $270 to $700 before you even hit the last stretch. Think about that. And then something wild happens that most people are afraid to even talk about, but not me. You know, Rip talks about all of it. As supply compression approaches zero, the model pushes XRP in a 4-digit territory, $2,500 all the way up to $15,000 levels. People laugh until they realize ETFs are designed to drain the liquid float exactly this way. This is what happens when you take a settlement asset out of an open market and it's locked inside of a regulated vehicle, everyone. It's the same exact pattern that gold went through when ETFs launched. If you don't believe me, go look it up. Except there's a slight difference. XRP has utility and velocity. Gold never had that. But that's just your warm-up, right? Because now we zoom in and quantify what happens when multiple ETFs launch at once. And I put together the sheet. You can see it right here. I know your 60-day to second price target on it's a little cut off. Let me see if I can shrink it down a little bit so you can see it. You know, it didn't really do it for you. Now did it. Maybe if I go back to it. It didn't. That's okay. We'll talk about it. You can listen. So I ran this. This is an XRP ETF launch impact model. You can see your first column. This is the most important column because this is your ETF count and when those ETFs actually go live. 30-day and 60-day price. These models don't start until you get this number of ETFs. We currently have 1. So we need 5 to be live. I know we got Bitwise and Canary. We'll put it this way. By December 1st, you will have 5. And then we can start the countdown. So January 1st, we'll be expecting the 30-day. So say for the month of January, you expect 30-day. In the month of February, you expect the 60-day pricing. And we see the volume that Canary did, right? Let's go back to it real quick. Canary did 58 million in volume and 26 million on the second day. If we say that this volume is overhyped, it's going to slow down. I get it. I'm with you. I do agree. I don't think taking an average here is fair. I think we need to go under the average. So we're looking at 58 and 26. Your average there is what? 5, 7, 8. It's around 40 something million. I think that's too high for a 40 something million. I say we take 50% of that. So we look at 20 million. So we come back to the chart and we look at 20 million. Our estimated projection for a very, very minimal case is around 10 million. We're not going to go there. We're going to aim for this target right here. 25 million per ETF. 5 ETFs live, 25 times 5 gives you to your number of $125 million for these inflows, right? Remember, very conservative pricing. Your January pricing should get us XRP to anywhere from 350, so close to a new all-time high, all the way up to $6. Your 60-day pricing, 450 to 780. Hey, from $2 to almost $8, a 4x in February. I don't know anyone that's going to be upset about that. A 4x. A 4x in the stock market world is going to take you over 20 something years. They usually say every 7 years your money doubles. If we do simple math, that's 28 years for a 4x. Obviously, it'll be a little bit shorter because you're putting money in, rates and blah, blah, blah. You get it. What I'm telling you here, though, and I don't want you to look at these numbers, and some of you might be super excited. Like, to me, a $7.80, I'm living in fantasy land. You know, I'm happy with that. Below that, nah. I really want a $10 XRP. I believe XRP is a double-digit asset. I do believe we get there, though. Remember, this is just taking into account ETFs. But what I want you to really take away from this is not to be stuck on the actual prices and get stuck up with the prices, right? I want you just to see the effect that these ETFs are going to have. The rest of November is going to be absolutely insane with all of these ETFs launching. I want you just to pay attention to those. Get excited. The bull market, I think it's coming back. I think we were in a bear market all of 2025. I've done the video on it. I'm going to make a video on the old channel. It will be published Monday afternoon. We're going to talk about the bull bear case. I'll be back a little bit later. I'm going to get some breakfast and watch some football. Enjoy your Sundays. See you for now.